My name is Scott Gracheff, and I'm the director of The Rugby Player. The Rugby Player is a documentary about the life of Mark Bingham. Mark was one of the passengers on Flight 93 on 9/11. He's one of the 4 passengers credited with leading the revolt against the terrorists on board. It's a documentary about him and also his mother, Alice Hoagland, a former United flight attendant, and her journey since 9/11. I met a good friend of Mark's in 2002, a fellow by the name of Todd Sarner, who's in our film. Todd was a childhood friend of Mark, and we just met at a mutual friend's dinner party in San Francisco. And he started telling me about his friend Mark. Like everyone else, I was glued to the TV screen in the weeks following 9/11, watching endless news coverage. But Mark's name had not come up, or at least not that I had seen. And when Todd started telling me about him, I just became very intrigued by him and fascinated with him. He just sounded like a great guy, someone I would have wanted to know. And Todd also revealed that Mark was an amateur documentary filmmaker who pretty much shot his entire life on video from age 16 to a month before he died. So realizing we had that really rich, engaging content to work with, we realized we had what it took to make a documentary to tell a story. Well, I mean, what stuck with me is that, I never had the pleasure of meeting Mark. But over the course of 10 years, I felt as though I got to know him, at least as best you can as a filmmaker making a film about someone. Just, especially going through all this rich video footage that he left for us. I mean, in a lot of ways, we say Mark was the one who shot the film of his life, and we were the ones that were just lucky enough to be able to put it together. I think for me personally, I was just inspired by him, inspired by the way he lived his life. He lived each day to the fullest and didn't let a second go by without embracing life and his friends and family and love, and that's just so personally inspiring. And I think that's one of the takeaways that I take from the film, just as the person who directed it. When you're in a full auditorium and they're engaged with the story, there's just nothing feels better than that, because you feel like you just did your job as a storyteller. And people are very engaged with it. I think, there's a few things you can come away with. You can come away just by being, touched by this really inspiring mother and son story. You can also come away just, as I mentioned before, just being inspired by the way, Mark lived his life. And I think the other thing that I think is a takeaway that people do come away with is what Mark's story proves is that when somebody makes the decision to come out as gay and live openly and honestly in this society, and they're met with love and acceptance instead of intolerance and hatred, they can grow up to be amazing individuals. And in Mark's case, they can grow up to be a hero.